I don't believe there is any doubt any longer. Tom Brady is the greatest American pro sports team athlete of all time. And I'm not sure that in any of our lives, anyone else is ever going to come close to him again. That is the biggest takeaway from the Tampa Bay Buccaneers' domination of the Kansas City Chiefs yesterday. This was a beatdown of epic proportions. The Kansas City Chief offensive line was destroyed by the defensive front of the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. And as a result, Patrick Mahomes was never able to be remotely comfortable in the pocket. In fact, he was running for his life almost the entire evening down in Tampa. Tom Brady was cool and calm and collected as he has been for most of his career, won his 5th Super Bowl MVP and his 7th Super Bowl overall. Tom Brady now has more Super Bowl victories than any franchise in the entirety of the NFL. The stats and craziness about Tom Brady in the wake of this performance, I'm going to run through all of them, but we begin with this. Tom Brady, 7 Super Bowls. The New England Patriots with 6. Obviously, all of those were won by Tom Brady. The Steelers with 6. The 49ers with 5. And the Cowboys with 5. Again, Tom Brady, more Super Bowl wins than every franchise in the NFL right now. Also, Mahomes was pressured on 29 of his 56 dropbacks, the most of any quarterback in Super Bowl history, and Brady was pressured on just 4 of his 30 dropbacks, the lowest of his Super Bowl career. And I want you to think about what Brady did. The Tampa Bay Buccaneers were 7-5, 3/4 of the way through their season. And then they didn't lose the rest of the way, winning 8 in a row, including wins on the road against 3 different MVP Super Bowl quarterbacks in a row in Drew Brees, Aaron Rodgers, and Patrick Mahomes, all 3 of which those games were the Bucs and underdogs, such that in addition to the 7 Super Bowls, Brady now has 7 career postseason wins as an underdog, tied with Eli Manning for the most by any starting quarterback since 1966. So not only did Tom Brady win the Super Bowl this year, he won 3 straight games against 3 Super Bowl MVP quarterbacks as an underdog. Drew Brees, Aaron Rodgers, both on the road, and then at home in the Super Bowl, took down Patrick Mahomes. This is also pretty remarkable. The Bucs are the first team with 4 30-point games in a postseason. Tom Brady is the first player in NFL history with 50 passing touchdowns in a season, including the playoffs, for a Super Bowl champion. And the more you look at his performance, again, the clearer it becomes that several things are now true. First, Tom Brady is the greatest quarterback in the history of the NFL, and I don't think there is anyone out there who can even argue otherwise. Second, Tom Brady is the reason that the Patriots had a dynasty at all. For a long time, we argued, who's the most responsible for the Patriot dynasty, Bill Belichick or Tom Brady? That's no longer a remote debate, particularly because you can go look at Bill Belichick's career as a head coach. He's won 46% of his games that he's coached without Tom Brady. With Tom Brady, Belichick has won 77% of his games. Great quarterbacks win NFL games. Great coaches are pretty much always connected to a great quarterback. If you had to choose right now, do you want to be at a franchise with a great coach or a great quarterback? There is no choice whatsoever to be made in the NFL. Great quarterbacks make great coaches, not vice versa. And finally, with this win, I believe the most significant long-term statement that is made is that Tom Brady is the greatest American pro sports athlete of all time. I say team athlete, right? Because it's impossible, I think, to compare someone like Tom Brady or Michael Jordan with Michael Phelps or Roger Federer or Serena Williams or someone like that is able to be completely in control of their performance by themselves. But right now, I would say the two greatest American team sport pro athletes of all time are Tom Brady, the unquestioned and unvanquished number one all time. And second place, I would put Michael Jordan. And then I think there's a big gap after those two. I really do. I think it is Brady 1. I think it is Jordan 2. And then I think there is a substantial gap after those two before you get to anybody in the third position. We'll open up phones maybe a little bit later today and let people argue for anyone else there. Other big takeaway on the side of the Kansas City Chiefs here, and I think it's a significant one. A lot of people out there wanted to argue that Patrick Mahomes was the heir apparent to Tom Brady. And that might well be true, but what we tried to talk about all last week was this fact. Look at the drop-off from Tom Brady to John Elway in terms of appearances in the Super Bowl. Right now, Tom Brady has been in 10 Super Bowls. The second most in the history of the NFL is John Elway with 5. This idea that somehow Patrick Mahomes was going to come in and completely replicate what Tom Brady did wasn't supported in any way by the historical record. And Patrick Mahomes and the Chiefs, who came into this game at 25-1 in their last 26 games started by Patrick Mahomes, I thought they got embarrassed. I really did. And Patrick Mahomes got beaten worse yesterday in this Super Bowl than Tom Brady has in any of the 3 games that he has lost in the Super Bowl. Why does that matter? Well, for anybody out there who wanted to argue Patrick Mahomes versus Tom Brady, and I'm sure that that is going to be an argument, it's awfully hard to make that argument when the last 2 times these guys have played in the postseason, Brady went on the road 2 years ago and beat the Kansas City Chiefs in the AFC Championship game. And now with a brand new football team, he has gone on the road and he has beaten down Patrick Mahomes one more time. I don't know how many more times, if at all, these guys are ever going to meet in the postseason, but it is pretty wild to think about. A couple of more stats. Brady joined a 7-9 football team that had not been to the postseason in 12 years. And in his first year, he took them not only to the postseason, but to win a championship and to win 8 straight games and to win 3 games on the road at Washington, at New Orleans, and at Green Bay, and to win a Super Bowl. Culture is your quarterback. Think about that for a minute now. Lots of discussion about what your team culture is. Your team culture is quite often whatever your quarterback's culture is. Brady barely had any time in the offseason compared to other years, and he still found a way to change the culture of the Tampa Bay Buccaneers from a losing franchise to one that won the Super Bowl. How does that happen? Because instead of Jameis Winston throwing 30 interceptions and fumbling the ball around everywhere, every single member of this Tampa Bay Buccaneer team knows that if they do their job, Tom Brady is going to put them in a position to win the game. And that is the culture. He's not asking you guys to do anything different than what he is accomplishing. The culture of the Tampa Bay Buccaneers became the culture of their starting quarterback, such that this is a crazy stat. LeBron James' current free throw percentage, 71.2%. Tom Brady, career winning percentage in the playoffs, 75.6%. Brady is more likely to win a playoff game than LeBron is to make a free throw this year. That is absolute insanity to even contemplate. Brady also threw more touchdowns than any player ever in his first year with a new team. All of this absolutely revolutionary, incredible, and legendary in its overall performance. Tom Brady and the Tampa Bay Buccaneers, your Super Bowl champions, an iconic run for a player who was already an icon.